You can feel it before you even see the first snow. The world slows down, the light drains earlier from the sky, and the air starts to bite at your skin like something alive. Winter is coming, and with it, the old shadows wake up. Lights bloom in windows, fireplaces crackle, families curl up indoors trying to keep the night outside. But the night has never really stayed outside, has it? For hundreds of years, people knew when the longest nights arrive, something else walks with them. Something older than Christmas. Something that remembers when winter meant survival, not decoration. You're here now, settling into your favorite spot. Maybe with a blanket, maybe with a hot drink, maybe with snow or cold rain right behind your glass. Either way, welcome to Myth of the Blood Moon. Before we dive in, drop a comment with 2 things. Where are you watching from? And do you love winter, or does the dark season make you uneasy? And if you enjoy walking on the darker side of folklore, the stories behind the stories, hit like and subscribe. On this channel, we don't just talk about myths. We drag them out of the shadows and look them in the eye. Now, let's talk about what came before Christmas. What lives beside it? What smiles from the corner of the celebration with too many teeth? You know Santa Claus. Red suit, white beard, ho ho ho, the harmless brand mascot of modern Christmas. He gives gifts, rewards good behavior, makes everything soft and safe. But no light exists without a shadow. While Santa rewards the good children, something else was created to deal with the bad one. And no, it's not a cute lump of coal. It's something much, much worse. His name is Krampus, half goat, half demon, towering over grown men, his body wrapped in dark, matted fur. Horns curve from his skull like twisted branches or an Alpine ibex. His face is almost human, but wrong in all the little ways. The eyes burn with a hungry, ancient intelligence. The mouth stretches too wide. A long red tongue hangs out between sharp teeth, obscene and mocking. He walks on cloven hooves that echo on frozen ground. He drags heavy chains behind him, and they're not just for show. Rusted bells jangle from them, and in his hands, he carries birch branches for beating. And on his back, a wicker basket, worn smooth by centuries, big enough to hold a child. Because Krampus doesn't just scare bad children. According to folklore, he takes them into the snow, into the forest, into the dark, and they don't come back. That's the story Austrian and German parents told their kids for generations. Be good, or Krampus will come. Now, here's where it gets interesting and darker. Krampus isn't some modern, edgy Christmas twist. He's not a Halloween version of Santa invented for memes and horror movies. Krampus is old, older than Christianity, older than the idea of Christmas itself. He comes from a time when winter wasn't about cozy vibes, it was about staying alive. To understand him, picture the Alps before electricity, before cars, before central heating. A winter where snow swallows whole valleys. Temperatures drop so low that one mistake outside can kill you. Days are short, and the mountains eat what little sunlight there is. Traveling can mean death. People disappear in storms and never return. In that world, fear of winter wasn't poetic. It was practical. Ancient people created stories to explain the dangers and to warn each other. One of these ideas was the wild hunt, a ghostly procession of spirits or gods sweeping across the sky in the darkest nights. If you were outside at the wrong time, they might take you with them. In the Alpine regions, this wild, dangerous winter energy eventually took shape as horned, furry beings. Krampus, 𝘨𝑏𝑜𝑓, Bartle, dozens of names, but the same idea, a creature that embodied everything uncontrolled and deadly about nature. These weren't demons in the Christian sense. The people who first imagined Krampus weren't thinking about sin and hell. They were thinking about nature and death. Krampus was a winter spirit, a wild force, a reminder that outside the thin circle of firelight, the world doesn't care if you live or die. And children? Children wander. Children don't understand danger. Children step too close to the forest, the cliff, the river. So the adults told them a story. Stay close. Come home when you're called. Obey your parents. Because if you don't, Krampus will get you. Brutal? Yes. Cruel? In that world, it was called love. It was survival dressed as horror. Over time, something happened that always happens in Europe. Christianity arrived. But here's the thing. When Christianity came into the mountains, it didn't erase everything at once. The church tried to push out the old spirits, but some of them were too deeply rooted. Krampus was one of them. So the new religion did what it often did with powerful old figures. It didn't destroy him. It rebranded him. Enter Saint Nicholas, the original, pre-Coca-Cola version of Santa, a bishop known for his generosity. His feast day is December 6th, and in many parts of Europe, that's when the gift bringer tradition really existed long before our modern Christmas morning. People in the Alps didn't want to lose their old winter rituals. So the solution was strange but brilliant. The saint and the demon would work together. Saint Nicholas, the holy man, rewards the good. Krampus, the chained beast, punishes the bad. The carrot and the stick, blessing and terror, light and shadow. On the night of December 5th, the eve of St. Nicholas Day, something special happens in traditional villages. Krampusnacht, Krampus night. Imagine this. It's late afternoon. The sky is already dark. Inside, families light candles, build fires, and pretend to be calm. Parents remind children to behave. Grandparents whisper tales of what happens to kids who don't. And then you hear it. At first, far away, the dull, heavy clanging of bells. The scrape of chains on cobblestone. Getting closer. Children freeze. Adults exchange glances, pretending it's all in fun, but their hearts pound too. The sound grows louder, filling the narrow streets, echoing off stone walls. The door shakes. Something slams against it. Chains drag. Bells scream. And then Krampus bursts in. Fur, horns, teeth, smoke, leather, sweat, animal smell, hot breath. The masks are hand-carved, terrifyingly detailed. The bells on their backs are so heavy they shake the floor when they move. They circle the room like predators. A moment later, St. Nicholas appears, calm and composed, in white robes and golden trim. The contrast is unreal. Saint and nightmare in one doorway. He asks the children if they've been good, if they listened to their parents, if they did their chores. The kids say yes, voices shaking. Then he turns to the parents and asks, "Is that true?" And this is where it gets cruel and effective, because the parents answer honestly. This one lies sometimes. That one refuses to help. This one talks back. Every confession makes the Krampus creatures more animated. They rattle their chains, step closer, raise their birch branches. Maybe they grab the bad child for a moment, lift them toward the basket, let them feel the rough wood, the cold iron. The child screams. The lesson burns itself into their memory. And just before it goes too far, St. Nicholas raises his hand. Krampus stops. The child is released. There are promises to behave. Sometimes a few stinging hits with the birch, not enough to injure, just enough to be remembered. By the end of the night, the Krampus troop runs howling back into the darkness. The bells fade. The chains go silent. In the morning, St. Nicholas comes alone. No fur, no chains, just small gifts and sweets left for those who survived the night. Fear and reward, punishment and mercy, shadow and light. Now fast forward to the modern world. Authorities tried many times to ban Krampus. The church called him too pagan. Rationalists called him barbaric. Fascist governments called him dangerous. Costumes were seized, masks destroyed. Krampus runs outlawed, but he never stayed gone. He went underground and came back stronger. Today, Krampus is everywhere, in parades, festivals, horror movies, memes. Cities in Austria and Germany host massive Krampuslauf. Krampus runs, where dozens of horned figures charge through the streets. Fire, smoke, sparks flying from chains. Tourists scream and laugh at the same time. And far from the Alps, in places like the US, people with no connection to the original folklore are starting their own Krampus nights. Some do it for the aesthetic, the horns, the fur, the anti-Santa vibe. But whether they know it or not, they're tapping into something much older and deeper, the human need for shadow. We live in a world where Christmas has been polished until it almost doesn't feel real anymore. Everything must be cheerful, cozy, magical, perfect. You're supposed to be grateful, happy, surrounded by love and gifts. But life isn't always like that. Grief doesn't take December off. Loneliness doesn't disappear because the calendar says it should. And for some people, all that forced cheer feels like a lie. That's where Krampus slips back in. He's not just a monster that scares kids. He's the reminder that winter is dark, that fear exists, that consequences are real, that not everything is soft and safe and wrapped in red and gold. Krampus says, it's okay to admit the night is heavy sometimes. It's okay to feel the cold. It's okay to look at the shadow instead of pretending it's not there. That's why people who feel like outsiders during the holidays, horror fans, goths, the lonely, the overwhelmed, often love Krampus. He gives them a way to belong in a season that usually seems reserved for perfect families. And maybe that's why he survived everything thrown at him. Church bans, political bans, modern commercialization. Because as long as there's winter, there will be fear. As long as there's light, there will be shadow. And as long long as humans tell stories, there will be monsters. Krampus is one of the oldest, and he's not going anywhere. If you've watched this far into the dark with me, tell me in the comments. Would Krampus have scared you into behaving as a child? Or would you have been the one sneaking to the window to watch him pass? Hit like if this story gave you chills, and subscribe to Myth of the Blood Moon for more tales from the darker side of folklore, the creatures, rituals, and legends that refuse to die. This winter, when the wind howls and the streets go quiet, if you hear chains in the snow, just remember, Santa may bring the gift, but he doesn't walk alone. Good night, traveler. Stay warm, and don't wander too far from the fire.